Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick and today guys we're going to be jumping down into the world of Cardano's ADA, taking a look at the most recent price action and what I would expect to happen next. As I get into the video, if you find it useful and informative, hit the like button. I do appreciate that. If you're new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. If you haven't yet joined us in Discord, go ahead, check it out. Linked in the description down below. I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there. Let's jump right down into this one though. So there's a lot to kind of talk about with Cardano's ADA. So here we have Cardano ADA paired up with USDT on the hourly chart, and Binance is the data source. And as you can kind of see, we had this really kind of interesting kind of structure emerge, taking us down reasonably low towards the 35-cent level. And I say reasonably low, it's because we're really looking at this origin level down here of where we started this five-wave structure to the upside. I'm just going to go ahead and draw a line in there. I'm going to clear out some of these other ones because I don't really want to be having too many lines on here, so I'll go ahead and remove those for now, but we'll keep that high in place. Okay, so let's just zoom out of here for a sec. So on the low side we have 24.5 and on the high side we have 42.13, right? And we got this white five-wave structured move to the upside, right? And so if we start with 5, we end in 5. That's kind of the easiest way to kind of talk about five-wave structures. So if you see 5 waves, then you've got to end in 5 waves, or you're already looking at the end of a structure. So it's possible that this is an end of a structure, but it's also possible that this is the beginning of a structure. So what we want to do is we want to figure out whether or not we are moving down below the 34.5 cent, and basically therefore it will dictate to us that this is in fact an end of a structure. Under no 5-wave structures or patterns that contain 5 waves at the beginning are you allowed to cross lower than the origin level of the wave one. There is no structure that will allow you to do that. You can only do those things if it's a 3-3-5 irregular flat or running flat corrections and things like that, right? You wouldn't see it in a zigzag pattern, which is kind of the most corrective, most normal corrective pattern that you're going to find. Or of course, you know, an impulsive structure, which would be 5, 3 down, 5 up, 3 down, 5 up, right? A 5-3, 5-3, 5. So in this case here, we've got 5 waves, right? So we know we've got 5 waves. And it's also possible that it isn't 5 waves and maybe it's a zigzag, but for the most part, we're going to leave it like this, right? Now, as we kind of start to come into this structured move to the downside, what we want to do is we want to figure out, are we going down in a 5-wave structure, or are we in fact just taking a look at this and thinking to ourselves that maybe we are going to be going through a impulsive trend down, or just a corrective trend down and then a move to the upside, right? That's kind of what we're trying to figure out. So let's jump into this, right? Because it is interesting. As I kind of draw these out, we can kind of see we had 3 waves right here, nice and easy. We can see that we've had 3 waves right here. Again, really simple. Then of course we come down here, we have 3 waves. Nothing too alarming at this point. We can argue that there's a really strange structure here. It can be it's got to be 3 actually, looking at it, because of the wick down this low end. And so I'm just going to draw a quick 3 waves in there. It's probably not going to be exactly like that, but you'll kind of get the idea. It can't be 5 waves anyway, so we know that bit. And then down here, we do have a 5-wave structure, and this is where things really get interesting. So at this point, we kind of come down, we bounce up, we then come down, we bounce up, and we come down. It's actually that one there. Okay, so we know that we have this kind of 5-wave move down here. So we look at this thing as a 3-3-5 correction to this point. Alternatively, because we got this move coming up here, again, not a 5-wave structure, and we can kind of see it's not a 5-wave structure because wave 3 would be far too short. In a similar way that we had with the other one. So we have that there. Then, of course, we do move down again in another 5-wave structure. And again, this one is 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. So here we have a zigzag pattern. Okay, so this is basically a 5, 3, 5, or an ABC, which is actually the technical term for a zigzag is ABC. Zigzag pattern is what it's commonly known as, and it is the correct use of an ABC. I just use ABC everywhere. That's not technically correct, and most of these are WXYs, but I like to use ABC for the ease of this YouTube channel. But as you can kind of see, we've kind of structured this out. None of this is basically giving us confidence to think that we are trending down. So that's a positive, right? There's no impulsive moves that are being found in here, but there is a problem. And that problem is that we could be doing a diagonal structure. And the reason for this is that this 3-wave structure, and this 3-3-5, Yeah, it could even be here. In fact, it's not a 335, but just this bigger corrective structure that is essentially looking like a 335 as a potential C wave. So if I were to go ahead and pull this into, where are we? Let me grab this one here, right? So if I were to think about this, this would be our wave 1, this could be our wave 2, this 3-wave structure could be our wave 3, up here could be wave 4, and then we come down into a wave 5. A 3-3, 3-3-3 with potential overlap on wave 4 and 1. Only if we rally up, though. Okay, now, I say this is a possibility, it's not a guarantee. I'll take that off for now. As I say, it's looking like a string of corrections at the moment. So it's one of those, right? It could potentially be something that that allows us to kind of look at this as a 5-wave drop. And if it is, then that could actually put us into a position to think of maybe a trend reversal. But I think it's a little bit too soon to really know for certain. Now, under a 5-wave structure like that, if we were to complete it with a 1, 2, kind of 3, 4, kind of 5, then we would actually rally up pretty significantly back above probably the 40-cent range. And then we would probably drop from there. And it doesn't really have to go that high. I mean, it could be 38 to 40, something to that effect. In fact, it'll probably be easier if I actually give some estimates. So let me go ahead and do that. If we go ahead and pull this on, just use these current areas as an estimate at the moment. We'll take that there, and then we'll run from where are we? We'll run it from, yeah, from the top here to just the top there. This will then allow us to kind of look at this little range as our area for retracement, which basically would be 38.22 to about 41.7. That would be approximately the area that you'd kind of be thinking about revisiting, and it would happen at a much later stage. So eventually you'd go down, and then you'd kind of, rally up from this low box to that higher box there. And the problem that you'd have is that then that would allow you to kind of look at this entire thing as a potential wave 1 here, wave 2 up there, then 3, 4, and 5, and so forth. And like I said, if you start with 5, you end in 5. Now the problem with this is it doesn't take into consideration, and it's a big problem, it doesn't take into consideration that first 5-wave structure, because that 5-wave structure there, right, we spoke about at the very beginning, we need to justify it. We need to know why it's there. So if we were to come down lower than 34.5, it would categorically mean that this is, of course, a part of a 335 structure, regular flat correction, nothing to worry about kind of job. And then if we were to stay above 34.5 and actually rally up quite significantly, voiding out this potential structure, which would only really happen if we pushed up higher than 42.13, we would be looking for an impulsive structure starting. Now, it doesn't look like we've got that yet, so we are not doing anything too crazy like that, but we would expect some kind of 5-wave structure to take us above this level at some point, because the entire structure here would have to be mapped up as an A, B, and C structure, right? That was kind of the thing that we'd be looking for. So yeah, we kind of have to kind of wait and see how this one plays out, but it does look very, very interesting. Now, from a smart money concepts point of view, we can see some interesting areas that we're going to have to kind of take care of. These are the imbalances on the order books, okay? So essentially we can see these two here, but we can also see one just down here in the chart. So we've got to go down and up, I think, in the case of Cardano's ADA. Now, unfortunately, we do have the bearish tail right here, okay? So on the macro level, we had a change of characteristic to the upside. It didn't hold, and now we've got a change of characteristic to the downside. At the moment, it seems to be holding up. So we should be aware that that actually is a negative, and therefore further downside is likely to occur. And if we do see that further downside, then, that'll basically play into our idea of a maybe leading diagonal structure. Now, on that kind of second wave movement to the upside, or that move to the upside, we'll take care of the higher gaps that were left behind. Okay, these fair value gaps, really around 37 to 37.7, and then 39.8 through to about 40.25. So those areas, they'll get filled out at some point, I would have thought. Now, we do have a strong high, so it's unlikely that we're going to break that, and we have a weak low at the moment, and we really are testing this internal order block at the moment as well. From a momentum point of view, we've got some actually, so I'm not too concerned, but we are seeing consolidation here. It does look like if we were to push up, this is going to be the limit of where we probably end up pushing it towards kind of the 37 through to about 38 cents, probably no higher than that for consolidation purposes. And that would actually then allow us to kind of think about that maybe as a kind of complete kind of three-wave structure to that effect. From there, though, of course, we would talk about that move downwards, which will then breach the discounted range in that weak low at the moment. A retest on equilibrium isn't necessity, but it'd be interesting to kind of see a retest of that area if it does come to play. But obviously, the closer that we push to the equilibrium area, the higher the chance of another change of characteristic to occur, specifically as we were to push up more towards kind of 40 cents or something to that effect. But for the most part, I think the probability here is that we probably will end up moving down, and we will have the ability to kind of take a look at this as a leading diagonal, and it's going to be one of those where we have to kind of really monitor the next move upwards before we can get confidence in shorting ADA, for example, if we wanted to. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. I'm going to leave the video right there. If you found it useful and informative, hit the like button. I do appreciate that. If you're new, subscribe. If you haven't yet joined us in Discord, check it out, linked in the description below. Until the next one though, guys, have a fantastic day.